You did all the right things. You worked harder, you stayed busy, you thought positively, and yet happiness still felt just out of reach. Not gone, not impossible, just distant, like standing inches from a door that refuses to open. Let me ask you something. Have you ever hit a goal you chased for years, only to feel empty a few days later? Have you ever told yourself, I'll relax when this is done? I'll feel better when things calm down. I'll be happy when I finally get there. And then you got there. And the feeling didn't last. Here's the scary part. Most people don't realize this until decades pass. They think happiness is a reward, something earned, something unlocked after enough effort. So they push harder, they tighten control, they stay in motion, and slowly life starts to feel heavy. Pressure builds, joy fades. And the question quietly shows up at night. Why isn't this working? What if the reason happiness feels so far away isn't because you're doing life wrong, but because you're fighting something that never needed a fight? What if happiness isn't something you chase, but something you've been unknowingly resisting? Stay with me. Because once you see this, you can't unsee it. And it changes everything. Chasing happiness fails due to its reason. Most people don't realize they're chasing happiness. They think they're chasing success, security, freedom. But underneath all of it, they're chasing a feeling. The feeling that says, now I can relax. Now I'm enough. Now I can breathe. Here's the trap. Happiness becomes conditional. It's always one step ahead. One promotion away. One relationship away. One breakthrough away. And the mind loves this game. A problem solver. A future builder. It's never satisfied with now. So even when life improves, the mind moves the target. You don't notice it happening, you just feel the pressure stay. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who spent years working toward a goal she believed would change everything. Long hours, sacrifices, missed weekends. She finally reached it. People congratulated her. Photos were taken. Smiles were posted. That night she sat alone and felt something unexpected. Nothing. Not joy. Not relief, just silence. And then the thought hit her. So, what's next? That moment confuses people and scares them because it exposes a truth we're not taught. Achievement doesn't create happiness. It reveals what was already there. If peace wasn't present before, success doesn't magically install it. It just removes the excuse that said, I'll be happy when. This is why chasing happiness backfires. Because happiness doesn't respond to force. Think about sleep. The harder you try to fall asleep, the more awake you become. You check the clock. You get frustrated. Your body tightens. Sleep disappears. Happiness works the same way. The more you demand it, the more tense you become. And tension is the opposite of happiness. Here's another pattern most people miss. People stay busy not because they love it, but because stillness feels dangerous. In stillness, emotions surface. Questions arise. Doubts speak up. So schedules fill. Notifications multiply. Distraction becomes normal. But constant movement has a cost. It disconnects you from yourself. And when you're disconnected, happiness feels unfamiliar. Ask yourself this. When was the last time you did nothing and didn't feel guilty about it? No phone, no productivity, no justification. If that question feels uncomfortable, you found something important. Another reason chasing happiness fails? Comparison. The mind looks outward and asks, am I ahead or behind? And no matter the answer, peace loses. Because if you're behind, you feel pressure. If you're ahead, you feel fear of losing ground. Either way, happiness becomes unstable. Always dependent on something outside of you. And here's the quiet truth. Most people don't want happiness. They want certainty. They want control over how life feels. But life doesn't make that promise. Trying to control happiness is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. Let me slow this down. Happiness is not excitement. It's not constant positivity. It's not feeling up all the time. Happiness is ease. And ease cannot coexist with inner struggle. Think about moments you felt genuinely okay. Not ecstatic. Not thrilled. Just grounded. Those moments usually showed up when you stopped trying to fix the moment. When you stopped negotiating with reality. When you stopped telling yourself, this shouldn't be happening. That sentence alone creates suffering. This shouldn't be happening. Every time you say it, you argue with what already is. And you always lose that argument, so the chase continues. More goals, more pressure, more self-talk about what needs to change. But here's the turning point. What if happiness isn't at the finish line? What if it never was? What if the chase itself is what's keeping it away? Sit with that. Because once you see it, you start to question everything you've been taught about fulfillment. And that question, that curiosity, that's where the shift begins. The real meaning of surrender is this. The word surrender makes people tense. It sounds like a loss, like weakness, like waving a white flag. So let's clear this up right now. Surrender is not quitting. It's not lowering standards. It's not giving your life away. Surrender is ending the fight with reality. That's it. The fight that says, this shouldn't be happening. I need this to be different. I can't feel okay until this changes. That fight is exhausting. And most people don't even realize they're in it. They wake up already bracing, jaw tight, breathe shallow, mind racing. Not because something bad is happening, but because they're anticipating resistance. Let me paint a picture. You wake up late. Your schedule's already off. Your mind starts yelling. You're behind. This day is ruined. Now everything is harder. Nothing catastrophic happened. But the inner war begins. Surrender would sound like this. Okay, this is the moment I have. No drama, no story, no self-attack, just presence. And here's the part people miss. That small shift changes everything. Because surrender doesn't remove action, it removes friction. You still move. You just move without dragging emotional weight behind you. Here's a story. There was a man who prided himself on control. Every detail, every outcome. If things went off script, he felt personally attacked by life. One day, something major fell apart. Not small, not fixable. His first instinct was panic, then anger, then exhaustion. Eventually, he stopped fighting. Not because he gave up, but because he ran out of energy. And in that quiet moment, something unexpected happened. He felt relief, not joy, relief. The kind of relief that comes when you stop holding your breath. He still had problems, but he wasn't at war with them. That's surrender. It's not a decision of the mind. It's a release in the body. Most people think surrender is mental. It's physical. Shoulders drop, breath deepens, thoughts slow. And suddenly you can see options you missed before. Because resistance narrows perception, surrender expands it. Here's another misunderstanding. People think surrender means you stop caring. It's the opposite. You stop forcing. You stop trying to control how life feels so you can respond to how life is. Ask yourself this. Where in your life are you pushing when nothing is pushing back? Where are you exhausting yourself? Trying to control something that won't cooperate? That's where surrender begins. Not later. Not someday. Right there. Let's talk about emotional surrender. This is the hardest part. Most people treat emotions like enemies. Anger is bad. Fear is weak. Sadness is failure. So they suppress. Overthink. But emotions aren't problems. They're messages. And messages need space, not resistance. Think about a child crying. If you yell at them to stop, they cry louder. If you let them be heard, they settle. Your emotions work the same way. Surrendering emotionally means saying, this feeling can be here. Not forever. Not in control. Just here. That allowance shortens the storm. Because what you resist persists. What you allow moves through. Let that sink in. Another key point. You don't have to approve. You don't have to agree. You just stop arguing. There's power in that neutrality. Because energy is spent on resistance. Is energy stolen from solutions? This is why surrender makes people stronger, not softer. Stronger. Because clarity lives in acceptance. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. What if the thing you're fighting isn't actually trying to teach you something? And what if surrender is how you hear it? That question changes perspective. Now let's get practical. Surrender happens in moments, not philosophies, not affirmations, moments. You spill something. You missed a call. You hear news you didn't want. In that moment you choose resistance or release. Resistance says, this ruins everything. Surrender says, this is part of the day. Same event, different nervous system, and different outcomes. Here's the deepest truth of surrender. You're not surrendering control of your life. You're surrendering the illusion that you ever had full control to begin with. And that realization is freeing because once you stop trying to control everything, you start living fully, presently, honestly. Surrender isn't the end of effort. It's the end of unnecessary suffering. And once that ends, the biology of letting go is this. Your body knows before your mind does. Always. Before a thought finishes forming, your nervous system has already reacted. Tight chest, shallow breath, clenched jaw. That's not a weakness, that's biology. Your body is wired to protect you. But here's the problem. It doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a stressful thought. A memory can trigger it, an email can trigger it, a tone of voice can trigger it. And once it's activated, your body shifts into defense. Heart rate up, muscles tight, vision narrow. You're alert, focused, ready, but not happy. Because happiness doesn't live in survival mode. Let me slow this down. When you resist what's happening, your body interprets that resistance as danger. It says something is wrong. Prepare. So even if life looks fine on the outside, inside feels tense. That's why people say, I don't know why I feel on edge. The edge comes from resistance. Here's a simple example. Imagine holding your breath, just for a moment. Notice the tension. Now imagine doing that all day. That's what resistance does internally. Surrender is the exhale. And the exhale tells the body, it's safe to relax. This is why letting go feels physical. Shoulders drop. Breath deepens. The mind slows. Not because you solved everything, but because your body stopped preparing for a fight. There's a story about a woman who lived in constant urgency. Every task felt critical. Every delay felt personal. She was always ahead, but never at ease. One day, during a quiet moment, her body simply gave out. Not dramatically, just exhaustion. She didn't change her goals. She changed her relationship to pressure. She learned to pause. To let moments pass without forcing meaning onto them. And her energy came back. Not because life became easier, but because her body stopped being attacked by her thoughts. Here's what most people don't realize. Your body cannot heal, connect, or feel joy when it's braced. It's too busy protecting you. Letting go sends a powerful signal. I'm not in danger. And that signal unlocks everything else. Creativity returns. Patience returns. Perspective returns. This is why your best ideas don't come when you're tense. They come in the shower, on a walk, in quiet moments. Moments of surrender. Now here's a shift. Letting go doesn't mean becoming passive. It means becoming responsive. When the body is calm, you see more. You listen better. You choose wiser. Stress narrows options. Calm expands them. Ask yourself this. How many problems feel overwhelming only because you're tense while thinking about them? And how many would look different if your body felt safe first? That question alone changes how you approach challenges. Another key point. People think they need to fix their thoughts to calm their body. It often works the other way around. Calm the body and the thoughts follow. One deep breath, one pause, one moment of letting go. That's biology working for you, not against you. And here's the most important part. Your body learns by repetition. Every time you choose surrender over resistance, you teach your system something new. You teach it trust. You teach it that not every moment is an emergency. And over time, that becomes your baseline. Peace stops being rare. It becomes familiar. This is why letting go isn't a one-time event. It's a practice, a relationship with your own nervous system. And once that relationship shifts, happiness stops feeling fragile because it's no longer dependent on perfect conditions. It's supported by your biology. That's real freedom. Here's the moment people don't expect. Happiness doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't knock. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand attention. It slips in quietly. Right after you stop chasing it. Right after you stop asking, why don't I feel better yet? That's when it shows up. Not as exciting, not as a rush, but with ease, a softening in the chest, a deeper breath, a sense that, for once, nothing needs fixing. This is the moment happiness returns. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who spent years trying to improve himself. Books, podcasts, seminars, routines. He believed that if he just mastered the right habits, he would finally feel at peace. One night, after a long day, he sat alone in his living room. No phone, no noise, just stillness. and something strange happened. Nothing, no breakthrough, no insight, just quiet. And for the first time in years, he didn't try to improve it. He let the quiet be enough. And in that moment, he felt okay. Not amazing, not thrilled, okay. And that was everything, because okay felt safe, okay felt real, okay felt sustainable. Happiness often returns as neutrality, as relief, as the absence of struggle. And that's why people miss it. They're waiting for fireworks. They overlook the calm. Here's the truth. Happiness isn't a high. It's a homecoming. It's the feeling of no longer being at odds with yourself. Think about the last time you stopped overthinking something. The moment you said, it is what it is. What happened in your body? Shoulders dropped. Breath deepened. The mind loosened its grip. That was happiness knocking. But most people slam the door. They say, this can't be it. I should feel more. I need to do more. And just like that, they miss the moment. Here's another story. A woman went through a season of uncertainty. Nothing was falling apart, but nothing felt stable either. She kept trying to feel confident. Tried to stay positive. Tried to stay busy. One day she stopped. She allowed herself not know, to not be certain, to not be in control. And instead of panic, she felt grounded because she stopped fighting the unknown. Happiness returned. The moment she stopped demanding clarity. That's the pattern. Happiness returns when resistance ends, not when life becomes perfect. Ask yourself this. When was the last time you allowed a moment to be incomplete? No resolution, no lesson, just a moment. That allowance is where happiness lives. Most people believe happiness means feeling good all the time. That belief alone blocks it. Because the moment discomfort shows up, they assume something's wrong. But happiness isn't fragile. It can coexist with sadness, with uncertainty, with effort. The difference is this. You stop judging the feeling. You stop telling yourself you shouldn't feel this way. That sentence creates suffering. Remove it. And emotions move freely. When emotions move freely, they don't linger. They don't define you. And happiness slips back in between them, like sunlight between clouds. Another key insight. Happiness often returns after acceptance. Acceptance of limits. Acceptance of timing. Acceptance of reality. No approval. Acceptance. There's power in that distinction. Acceptance says, this is happening. Approval says, I like this. You need honesty. And honesty creates peace. Let me ask you something personal. What are you waiting to change before you allow yourself to feel okay? And what if you didn't have to wait? What if happiness isn't on hold but simply blocked by expectation? Because when happiness returns, it doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't require effort. It just asks for space. And the moment you stop chasing it, you finally have that space. That's the moment everything shifts. Let's make this real. Not philosophy. Not an inspiration you'll remember tomorrow. Real practices. Small actions. Daily moments. Because surrender doesn't happen once. It happens in ordinary seconds. And those seconds shape your life. Here's the first practice. Practice 1. Catch the inner fight. Resistance hides in language. Listen to your thoughts. This shouldn't be happening. I can't deal with this. This ruins everything. Those sentences are alarms. The moment you notice one, pause. Ask one question. What am I fighting right now? Not to fix it, not to solve it, just to see it. Awareness alone loosens the grip. Most suffering continues because it goes unnoticed. When you see the fight, you step out of it. That's surrender. Practice 2. The exhale reset. Your body leads. Your mind follows. Anytime you feel tense, do this. Long inhale through the nose. Slow exhale through the mouth. Then another. That exhale is not relaxation, it's permission. Permission for the body to stand down. Say this silently if it helps. This moment doesn't require a fight. You'll feel the shift. Not dramatic, but real. Do this before meetings, before conversations, before reacting. This one habit alone changes how your day feels. Practice 3. Allow the feeling. Most people don't struggle with events. They struggle with emotions about events. Anger shows up. They resist it. Fear shows up. They judge it. Sadness shows up. Instead, try this. Name it. This is frustration. This is uncertainty. This is disappointment. Then stop. No story. No analysis. Just allow the sensation to exist. Emotions don't want control. They want acknowledgement. The moment you allow them, they soften. And happiness finds room again. Practice 4, detach from the outcome. This one changes everything. Do the work. Release the emotional demand. Meaning this, take action because it's aligned, not because you need it to make you feel a certain way. When happiness depends on outcomes, you live in tension. When actions stand alone, you live in peace. Ask yourself before big efforts, can I do this without needing it to complete me? That question restores power. Practice 5, shrink the moment. Overwhelm lives in the future. Surrender lives now. When things feel heavy, shrink the moment. Not the week, not the year, this breath, this step, this choice. Say it. Right now I only need to handle this. The nervous system responds immediately. You return to the present, and happiness is always closer there. Practice 6, neutral gratitude. This isn't forced positivity. This is realism. Once a day, notice something that's okay. Not amazing, not perfect, just okay. A quiet moment, a completed task, a safe place to sit. This trains the mind. It stops scanning only for problems. And when the mind stops scanning for danger, the body relaxes. That's surrender in action. Practice 7, end the day without judgment. Before sleep, most people replay mistakes. They critique. They correct. They pressure tomorrow. Try this instead. Ask one question. Where did I fight today? Then say, it's okay that I did. No punishment. No fixing. Just honesty. This closes the day gently. And a gentle ending creates a better beginning. Here's the most important thing. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for awareness. Surrender isn't about never resisting. It's about noticing sooner and releasing faster. That's how happiness becomes consistent. Not intense, not dramatic, consistent. And consistency is freedom. Your life changes when you stop fighting. The change doesn't happen all at once. There's no lightning strike, no dramatic overnight shift. It's quieter than that, but it's permanent. Because surrender doesn't change life. It changes how life moves through you. And that changes everything. The first thing people notice is space, mental space, emotional space. The constant pressure eases. Thoughts slow down, reactions soften. You stop waking up already tired. Not because your schedule changed, but because your mind stopped racing ahead of the moment. Here's what surprises most people. You don't lose ambition, you lose desperation. There's a difference. Desperation needs control. Ambition needs clarity. When surrender enters the picture, your goals stop feeling heavy. You still want growth. You just don't need it to validate you. And that shift is powerful. Decisions become cleaner, not rushed, not fear-driven. You say yes when it's aligned. You say no without guilt. That alone reshapes your life. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who used to overthink every choice. Small decisions drained her. Big ones kept her up at night. She believed if she made the wrong move, everything would fall apart. When she learned to surrender outcomes, something changed. She still thought things through. But she stopped obsessing. She trusted herself to adjust, and suddenly, decisions felt lighter. Not because they were perfect, but because she no longer feared them. That's surrender at work. Relationships change next, and this one hits deep. When you stop fighting yourself, you stop fighting others. You listen more. You react less. You don't need to win conversations. You need to understand them. Conflict softens, not because people change, but because your nervous system does. Presence replaces defensiveness, and presence is magnetic. People feel it. They feel safer around you, more seen, more respected. Not because you're trying, but because you're no longer tense. Here's something no one talks about. Surrender gives you confidence, not loud confidence, not performative confidence, quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't rush to prove anything. Because when you're okay with uncertainty, you're unshakable. Life can surprise you, and you remain grounded. That's real strength. Now let's talk about productivity. This is where people get skeptical. They think surrender slows you down. It doesn't. It removes wasted effort. The energy you use to spend resisting reality gets redirected into action, focused action, effective action. You stop spinning, you start moving. Work improves, creativity increases, not because you push harder, but because you're not burning energy internally. And here's a big one. Your relationship with time changes. You stop racing it. You're present in moments instead of trying to escape them. Even difficult moments lose some of their weight because you're not stacking stories on top of them. You handle what's here, then you move on. That skill alone reduces stress dramatically. Ask yourself this: how much of your stress comes from what's happening, and how much comes from what you're telling yourself about it? Surrender removes the extra layer. Life becomes simpler, not easier, simpler. And simplicity creates peace. Here's the deepest shift of all. You stop outsourcing happiness. You don't wait for conditions to improve. You don't wait for permission. You carry stability inside you. So when good things happen, you enjoy them fully. And when challenges arrive, you meet them without collapse. That balance is rare, and it's built through surrender, not force, not control. Trust. Trust in your ability to respond. Trust in your ability to adapt. Trust in the present moment. And once that trust forms, life stops feeling like a test. It starts feeling like an experience. And that's when happiness stops being something you chase and becomes something you live. The truth that matters most is this. So here we are. After everything you've heard, everything you felt while watching this, there's one truth that matters most. Happiness was never gone. It was never broken, never delayed, never reserved for a better version of you. It was just waiting. Waiting for you to stop fighting yourself. Waiting for you to stop holding your breath. In a life that keeps moving anyway. Think about this moment, right now. As you're listening, nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be proven. Nothing needs to be chased. This moment is already complete. And the more you allow that to land, the more you'll feel it. That softening, that quiet relief, that sense of, I'm okay. That's not the end of the journey. That's the beginning of living it differently. Let me ask you a question. What have you been carrying don't actually need to hold anymore? A pressure, a story, an expectation. And what would happen if you put it down? Not forever, just for today. Surrender isn't dramatic. It's a small choice, made again and again. A choice to stop arguing with reality. A choice to stop delaying peace. A choice to meet life as it is, instead of demanding it be something else. And here's the most important part. You don't have to change your life. To live this way, you don't need a new job, a new relationship, a new identity. You need a new relationship with this moment. Because when you stop fighting the present starts supporting you. So here's my invitation. Not a command, not a challenge, an invitation. Today, notice one moment where you would normally resist, and instead pause, breathe, allow, say silently, this is here, and I can handle it. That's it. That one moment matters, because moments compound. And over time, that's how happiness stops visiting and starts staying. If this message resonated with you, don't rush past it. And if you're willing, share this in the comments. What is one thing are you ready to release? Not to impress anyone, not to explain, just to acknowledge it. Because the moment you name it, it loses power. And remember this, you're not behind, you're not late, you're not broken, you're human. And happiness isn't something you earn, it's something you allow. When you're ready, let go, and let life meet you there. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, my friends.